Christmas Day 2025 in the Philippines was a tapestry of joy. Families gathered, carols played, and the air was thick with celebration. In Manila, traffic gave way to laughter and music, echoing from every home. Across the islands, from Baguio's cool hills to Palawan's beaches, the nation was united in festive spirit. In Pampanga, the Garcia family exchanged gifts, their living room filled with warmth and tradition. Suddenly, every TV and radio broadcast was interrupted. The Presidential Communications Office seal appeared, and a somber spokesperson addressed the nation. The carols stopped. Laughter faded. A hush fell as Filipinos everywhere turned to the screen. The spokesperson announced a sweeping expansion of the Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement with the United States. U.S. forces would gain expanded access to key military bases, including those closed since the Cold War. The announcement shattered the holiday calm, sending shockwaves through every household. The party was over. A new, uncertain chapter for the Philippines had begun, broadcast live into the heart of its most treasured celebration. The nation, in unison, held its breath. The government's message was clear. The expanded agreement was a proactive step to safeguard Philippine sovereignty amid rising threats. Strategic air and naval bases would now host rotating American troops and advanced hardware. The move was framed as a partnership of equals, not a return to permanent U.S. bases. Joint training, infrastructure upgrades, and technology transfers were promised to modernize the armed forces. The timing, Christmas Day, ensured every Filipino heard the news. The urgency was unmistakable, and the festive mood evaporated. As regular programming resumed, families sat in stunned silence, questions swirling. Would this make the country safer or a target? The Christmas of 2025 would be remembered not for gifts, but for the moment the nation confronted its precarious place in a dangerous world. The holiday spirit was replaced by a deep sense of uncertainty. Online, the nation erupted. Hashtags like #HandsOffPH and #StandWithUSA trended instantly. Supporters hailed the move as overdue, sharing images of Chinese ships in Philippine waters and calling the alliance a necessary shield. Critics, meanwhile, accused the government of selling out sovereignty, warning the country risked becoming a pawn in a superpower rivalry. Memes and protests flooded social media, echoing fears of the Philippines as a U.S. puppet or a future battleground. The debate spilled into family chats and community forums, old wounds and new anxieties clashing in real time. Fishermen hoped for protection. Students feared escalation. The complexity of the issue was laid bare in every conversation. The government had won the first battle for attention, but the war for public opinion had just begun. Every Filipino became a pundit, protester, or supporter. The announcement had ignited a nationwide reckoning about sovereignty, safety, and identity. The country was united in attention, but fiercely divided in conclusion. The Christmas shockwave had become a digital firestorm. The core question: does this agreement make the Philippines safer or more vulnerable? Proponents argued that only a credible deterrent, backed by the U.S., could check China's aggression in the West Philippine Sea. They insisted this was about preventing war, not inviting it. Opponents saw a dangerous escalation, fearing the country would become a pawn in a U.S.-China conflict. Economic concerns loomed. Would alienating China hurt ordinary Filipinos? The debate forced a reckoning with the nation's identity and alliances. The military saw a chance for long-overdue modernization. Critics worried about dependency and the risk of being caught in the crossfire. The Christmas announcement had opened a Pandora's box of questions about survival and sovereignty. The nation was at a crossroads, forced to choose between security and independence. The answers were anything but simple. The debate was no longer theoretical, it was personal, urgent, and inescapable. The Christmas Day announcement was months in the making, the result of secret, high-stakes negotiations. Alarmed by Chinese aggression in the West Philippine Sea, Philippine leaders concluded that diplomacy alone was no longer enough. The president, after reviewing intelligence and consulting military commanders, made the final call. The expanded EDCA was seen as the fastest way to deter further incursions and buy time for military modernization. The risks, especially provoking China, were carefully weighed. The agreement was framed as defensive, not directed at any one country. Announcing it on Christmas Day was a calculated move, signaling urgency and minimizing backlash. For the military, the deal promised access to training, equipment, and intelligence needed for external defense. The secret negotiations were a gamble, but leaders believed it was essential for national survival. The decision marked a turning point in Philippine strategy. Basa Air Base in Pampanga, once a quiet outpost, is now the centerpiece of the new defense strategy. Its proximity to the South China Sea makes it a critical hub for joint U.S.-Philippine operations. U.S.-funded upgrades will transform the base, enabling it to host modern fighter jets and surveillance aircraft. Basa becomes the tip of the spear, a visible symbol of the revitalized alliance and a powerful deterrent. Its location also places it near Taiwan, raising the stakes in any regional conflict. The base's dual-use potential is both its strength and its controversy. For the Philippine Air Force, this is a leap in capability and training. Pilots and crews will operate in a high-tech, high-stakes environment. Basa is no longer just a base, it's a front line in the Indo-Pacific's new security landscape. The transformation is as much about mindset as it is about hardware. The expanded agreement signals a fundamental shift in Philippine defense strategy. For decades, the AFP focused on internal threats. Now, the priority is external defense. The goal, credible deterrence. Enough capability to make any attack costly for an aggressor. The EDCA expansion is the catalyst for modernization, bringing new ships, jets, and technology. Joint exercises with U.S. forces will fast-track skills and readiness. The transition is challenging, requiring investment, political will, and a cultural shift within the military. There are risks of over-reliance on the U.S., but the government sees no alternative. The Filipino soldier's role is being redefined, from jungle patrols to defending seas and skies. The AFP is being reforged for a new era of ambition and urgency. The stakes are higher than ever. The nation's security now depends on its ability to adapt. The Philippines' bold move sent ripples across Southeast Asia. Neighbors with their own disputes with China watched closely, considering whether to follow Manila's lead. The decision could embolden others to strengthen security ties with the U.S. or deepen divisions within ASEAN. Some countries fear provoking China, others see a new template for balancing great powers. China will likely pressure the region to avoid Manila's path, testing ASEAN's fragile unity. The Philippines has forced every nation to reconsider its strategy. The illusion of neutrality is gone. The region's security landscape is being reshaped. The ripples from Manila's decision will be felt for years. The Philippines now faces its greatest challenge: balancing security with the U.S. and economic ties with China. China is the country's largest trading partner. A rupture would be devastating. Diplomats will stress the agreement's defensive nature, hoping to avoid economic retaliation. The government will seek to keep economic doors open, even as it fortifies its defenses. But China's reaction is unpredictable. Sanctions or investment slowdowns are real risks. The hope is that mutual economic interests will temper Beijing's response. The balancing act is fraught with danger. Lean too far toward the U.S. and risk China's wrath. Appease China and sovereignty is at stake. The nation's leaders are walking a tightrope, with everything on the line. The outcome will define the Philippines' future. The Christmas Day announcement was a turning point. A nation forced to choose courage over comfort. The revitalized U.S. alliance offers modernization and a chance to defend sovereignty. The Philippines has reclaimed a leadership role in Southeast Asia, inspiring others. But the risks are immense, navigating between superpowers, managing internal divisions, and avoiding becoming a flashpoint. The government's gamble is that deterrence will prevent war, not provoke it. The nation's future now rests on resilience and unity. The path ahead is difficult, but it is also a path towards strength and self-determination. The Christmas shockwave woke the nation to its new reality. The world is watching. For 110 million Filipinos, the hope is that this moment leads not to conflict, but to lasting peace.